Hello, episode 4 of Locker Room Chat. We've got some really good people that have been reaching out. I don't know whether you're receiving the Cal saying like they're actually loving the banter that we have between each other, which we're used to because it just is how we talk on the phone all the time. And we never stop to draw breath. So we're used to this, but I'm loving that other people are enjoying it as well. Episode 4, let's get straight back into it.
We're here, and I'm glad that you said that people are enjoying it, because this is like my favorite. It's not really work because we just jump on here and do this for fun and free. But
Let's have a recap of round 3. Mavs 71 to Vixens 72. Extra time. It was heartbreaking, not only on the scoreboard, but also obviously news that followed with Tara Hinchcliffe doing her ACL for the 3rd time. You and I have both been in that camp before. Is, as I said, devastating news for them. She was absolutely setting the court on fire, I think, and the combination that she had with Kim Brown was really exciting to see. They're going to miss her. You see a youngster, Charlotte Sexton, come into the mix as a replacement player. I did want to ask you a question because you were in the presser with Jez after it. When you asked him, and the way he answered the question was, he was like, well, it's better than last week. We made it to extra time. Now, you can look at it the two ways. Yep, it is an improvement, but it was Mav's game for majority of the first 4 quarters that actually counted, and then they took it to extra time. And then not to win it, I feel like it was a missed opportunity. Did you think that was the right way for him to answer it, or you thought it was a lost opportunity for the Mavs?
Now, I've spent a little bit of time talking to Jez over the last couple of weeks, and so I think I've learned his personality, which will always be to front face the media with the most positive approach. I do believe that Amy Parmenter and Jez were actually quite frustrated and maybe hurt at the fact that they didn't get that one. But I think his approach to the media and to the rest of the netball fraternity will always be, no, we're great, and this really positive vibe, and nothing's too serious and nothing is too hurtful. But I agree with you. I think this is a lost opportunity for the Mavs. And the reason that I don't think that it is a positive is because Mavs are now carrying 3 years. Yes, it's a new era under Jez. They're now carrying 3 years of being almost. They're like the almost team. And yes, Jez comes in this year, and for Jez, he's coached 3 games, so maybe he's looking at it as that, and that, they were better than round 2 where they got to overtime, and he's going, we're building. But I think for the rest of us who have been watching the Mavs over the past 3 years, this is no change. This is what they do. They cough up games that they can win. It's been a blueprint and a trademark of theirs for a little bit of time now, and they still haven't managed to find a way to put the foot down. And when you're up by 5 goals in the second quarter, closing the door, shut the door, foot on the throat, Mavs let teams back in. And so my point on that is, I understand it, but he's looking at it as his 3 games, whereas I go, no, this is now a Mavericks trait that you're going to have to unlearn.
And the reason I say that is because, we were there live, and I saw fans, and you saw, owners looking absolutely devastated, because it was like, that was our chance to show that we mean business. It's totally different. We do know how to win, and that when we do get into those moments now, it's happened 2 weeks in a row, that old wounds aren't going to open up, and that's going to be like kind of traumatizing, and that's when we go like tight and play within ourselves rather than together as one. Lightning, another 1-goal win for them as well, 66 to the Swifts 65. I still think they're changing around, trying to find their groove. I'd love to see what Belinda Reynolds has learnt in the first 3 rounds start to implement in her combinations that she chooses moving forward, because I still think she's tinkering, but I've seen enough now to know that Liz Watson, when she's in wing attack, they win quarters. So I want to see her there, find the centre that's going to complement that. Don't take her out to band-aid the situation.
Yeah, I don't mind that take as well. And the Lightning, for me at the moment, I feel like they are just missing this grit. And that's not individual players. It just feels like, as a unit, it's okay. I'll compare it to the Thunderbirds because they are the benchmark at the moment. The Thunderbirds are so sure of who they are. They know what they're doing. They know how they look. You know what you're going to come up against the Thunderbirds. The Lightning, Who are you? What are your standards? What do you not walk past? What are you putting out week in, week out? I don't think the consistency of their brand has been there yet. You've got all of the pieces. It just feels like everyone's confused as to what Lightning are. And I would love to see in the next couple of weeks, Lightning being, we are a loose ball team. We're a 2-point team. We're a this, we're a that. Like, I couldn't tell you what Lightning are at the moment. Whereas I could say to you, the Thunderbirds, they're going to play offline defense. They're going to confuse the space. They're going to play 6 defenders down. They're going to not shoot in the super shot unless they need to. I can tell you what their fabric is, and I'm just not sure that I know that yet for the Lightning.
I can tell you what the Lightning are. They're just scraping through. Like, they're just getting there. That's what they are doing. Thunderbirds, on the other hand, went down 46 to the Thunderbirds, 73. A plus 27 goal win to the Thunderbirds. I mean, like we've said, they're the benchmark. Thunderbirds, they do feel different, but too many costly errors. And same again, not sure what they stand for. It's like they're trying to build through the season or during the season. And I'm like, some of this stuff should have been nutted out in preseason. So I feel like it still could be a bit of a rocky road for them. And missing a Maddie Gordon, she's a massive loss for them. I feel like she would have just been the link that they really needed to even them out a little bit. And yeah, they're just up and down on a roller coaster ride. But Thunderbirds, still really impressive. Fever, 69 to the Giants, 50. Fever, once again, over in the West. They can do no wrong. They just absolutely take it to another level. And let's take that as a segue into your blinder last week, was that ATN was just going to go gangbusters. And boy, did she do it.
She did. I knew she was going to have a big one. I think she just licks her lips when she comes up against players. And this is with all the respect to Amy Sliger, but I think ATN, when she knows that she is going to be a very dominant player, I think she goes into every game the same, but there's just this air of she just knows that she's really good, especially in games like this. And I just think she's phenomenal. So 32 goal assists, 9 centre pass receives, which is interesting for a goal attack. But I also love that this is how obviously her and Sasha Glasgow are sort of working. And a lot of their centre passes actually go through the back door. So Jess Anstice and Fran Williams both with 14 centre pass receives as well. And Alice had 60 feeds. Unbelievable. I saw someone make a chart. I think it was on the Facebook. It's like a Netball Talk Facebook. I'm in the group. And someone made a chart. And I love this because the fans are like, they've come up with all of their own stuff. And they made this chart that was basically like what you hammer on about, the efficiency of goal assists to feeds.
Hooray.
And yeah, they drew up, I'm going to send you the thing because you'll love it. But it had Alice Teague-Neeld down, right down the very, very bottom in terms of like goal assist to feed ratio. And so she's not good. And this used to grind my gears so much. We also have to factor in, so she might throw to a goaler that is maybe like just inside the goal circle. She then gets it back to refeed. Now that is a 2-1 if they shoot the goal. But say this happens, and I think we've seen this in a game. She might feed to Romelda, who's just inside the circle. She'll get it back on top of the circle. She'll feed back to Romelda. Romelda will miss a shot. That is 2 feeds and no goal assist. So like, yeah, I love stats. They're like, I love them. But that is 2 2 feeds to no goal assists, but like the ball is still going through the hole. Romelda just missed it and she got her own rebound. So there's elements to it. But yeah, I thought she was my blinder, and I'm glad. Thank you, Alice. She's my friend. She really made me look good this week.
Well, the other thing on that refeed is sometimes that slingshot is what I call it, is like goalie comes out and it's like a bang bang, like kind of like run throughs, like the drill of run throughs so that they can hit the so hard to defend. It's a strategy. Fever use it. Vixens use it a lot with the Garvin. So yeah, yes, there is, but obviously, you know, that's a little bit of a questionnaire on the champion stats sheet. But no, I agree. ATN, absolute blinder. I had Mavs to win and shake it up. Now, in the first part of the game, I was like, my blinder is looking real good here. I am on. I'm ready. And then, like we mentioned earlier, they just let me down a little bit. But yeah, didn't come through. I went back to back with Mavs for blinders for the last couple of weeks, so might need to jump off that bandwagon. Anyway,
well, let's talk about that though. If you want to look forward to round 4.
I think this is a really good point. Bring it up.
Well, we were talking before we get on here, just we do go off the cuff, but sometimes we just sort of talk about where we're sitting with the season at the moment and just the round that's ahead of us. Now, I looked at this round and I was like, there's no rivalries, there's no derbies, there's no real anything happening in this round, but I think this is the most critical round of the season. If you break the season down into, let's say, 4 different sections. So you'll start the first one, our first 4 rounds. I think a lot of coaches would say, like, let's look at the first month. You want to get a good chunk in there. You want to get yourself off to a really good start, but also it's 4 games. And if it doesn't go your way, you've got 10 more to go. So I think you cut it down into the first 4 games. Middle chunk is the middle 5 games. Last chunk is the last 5 games. For some teams, you don't get a fourth quarter. You're only playing 3 quarters because you're not playing finals. And then the fourth quarter for a lot of teams is that finals. That's the way that I think teams would break down their season into 4 different parts. Now, this week is the end of quarter 1. Mind blowing, I think, for all of us to be sitting here and going, wow. But it's crazy that this round, I think, will be really poignant in where the ladder shakes out. And say, I look forward to a Mavs. You've gone with Mavs the last 2 weeks, but Mavs are coming up against the Thunderbirds, right? Thunderbirds are the benchmark. We know that. This will be a test to see, are Mavs a 20 goal less team than Thunderbirds, or are Mavs there and about? Are Mavs a 5th, 6th, 7th? Or are Mavs going, yeah, no, we're here in the top 4 because we didn't lose to the Thunderbirds by 20 goals? I don't know. I think this round is really big. Swifts playing Fever, I think, is an awesome one. Both teams, no one really knew how they were going to come into the season. Fever are playing really well at the moment. I just think this round is really big.
Yeah. And you know why it's big too? Because it'll probably solidify where we thought our top 8 or our ladder was going to finish. So, like, you know, the Swifts and Fever, we had them kind of mixing around. Mavs, we were like, oh, I don't know. I think they're still in that bottom 4. Unfortunately, we have to say that, you know, we didn't want this to happen, but the top 4 and bottom 4 are starting to kind of fizzle into shape a little bit. I'd love to have it a little bit deeper. Obviously, you know, Giants and Firebirds still no wins, but yeah, no, I love that theory, and I love that you're looking at it in quarters, and it's exactly the way coaches look at it. We chunk it down so then you can work on that, then let it go, then you move on to the next one. So if things aren't going well, you can kind of park it, move on, readjust, and have another crack again. But you're right, it is crunch time, and I cannot believe it. First quarter is nearly done. So,
well, I also think you just mentioned that. I didn't even mention the other 2 games. Like, obviously, we just picked out those 2. But Vixens Lightning is a big one. Lightning have struggled against Vixens for a long time. Boy. Now, I've got Lightning sitting second. Like, Lightning, if you want me to take you seriously and please help me, I need you to beat the Vixens this weekend. Is it going to happen? I think there's a lot of tests. And then the last game, and you mentioned it, Giants and Firebirds, both winless. So one team is going out of the first quarter with no wins. Nil.
Well, you hope you're not in that situation, because otherwise then, you know, you start to think, gosh, is this season done and dusted? And it's, you know, we're rocking up every week, and what are we working towards, and what are we trying to fight for? Let's move on to team of the round. Now, we're just going to park this one for this week because the ladies in pink are just everywhere. We mentioned Alice Teague-Neeld, honourable mention there. I mean, the Vixens and Mavs game, we said we loved, you know, the Jamie Lee Price and the Moloney battle, like, so good to watch. You even said it was the price of admission. Like, why wouldn't you want to go and watch that battle? Did either one win? No, both of them probably deserved points at times. Vixen's getting the win. Kate Moloney get an extra tick there.
And can I just say, I copped a fair bit of heat for the player of the match. I just want to justify this, not that I have to, but it would have been Shimona Nelson if she stayed on the court and the Mavericks won. She was outstanding. She would have been my player of the match, and it wouldn't have been JLP or Kate. But I think the fact that the Vixens ran over the line, Kate Moloney is such a big part of that Vixens lineup and how she drags them out of that. She is their leader. And we spoke off the top of the broadcast that was the matchup that was going to dictate the game. So that was my justification for Kate Moloney. Did she have the best stats on court? Absolutely not. JLP had better stats. And the battle was neck and neck. But I do not think you can understate the most influential person on that court for the Vixens over that period of time is a Kate Moloney. So
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You were in the huddles, you heard what she was saying as well. And I think that sometimes not all of that is shown on the TV. Even when you're watching live, there's lots of noise. But when you're in the venue and you're seeing her in action as a captain, not only like she was taking care of her own job, but she was bringing other people into the game. like Akira Austin, struggled early in the game. Next minute, she's shooting your super shots, taking you into extra time. She's the reason you win by 1. That is the work of a Kate Moloney beside her saying, back yourself in, still go to the post, go again, Kira, we're here again. That type of confidence, you don't see that unless you're there. Player of the match, Kate Moloney all the way. I loved it. I'll back you in all the time, Kels. Let's talk about some trending netball news. Some big things that happened over in the last round was obviously Jodie Ward coming back from a knee injury. We all know what that is like. We even saw it in round 1. Yay, Jodie, with Ava Black as well. You know, when you've done so much work and it's taken you, you know, blood, sweat, tears, you've been on a rocky journey to get back. It's so nice to see these players come out and just be back doing what they're so good at and loving it as well. So well done to her. The news that we do want to talk about on trending though is Commonwealth Games is looming later in the year. And we've said ladies in pink are absolutely shining. So did Georgie Horges, absolute standout in wing attack and goal attack. ATN showed on the weekend, unbelievable when she's got the ball in hand. We're a quarter of the way of the season through. So where does this leave some players? Because there were question marks on a Sophie Dwyer, on a Cara Conan, probably through the international series. Defense end, you know, Sunday's not there. Tilly Garrett just steps in there pretty easy. It's that goal circle to midi attacking. Where do we sit? Where do you sit with this?
Well, at the moment, and it's hard because wins matter, but it's also not on one person. Like if I do know anything about netball, it's not like other sports where you can have a superstar that can just win you games. Like netball is very much a team sport. Having said that, I do think there are some players, especially some of the diamonds, that can bring their team. We just spoke about Kate Moloney doing it, that can actually bring a team along with them and be really dictating when it comes to their team winning. So therefore, let's talk about Sophie Dwyer and the situation she's in at the moment. Giants haven't won a game. She has a lot of SSN experience. Her and Jodie Ward are probably the 2 most experienced people. Now you can put Jane in there as well, but from the point of view of that she's played international netball, but it's not SSN. It's not SSN. I love Jane and I love Anne, but it's not SSN, and we've actually seen some players in good environments come over and thrive, like a Kate Heffernan, and we've seen Tapia come over from the ANZ Championship and struggle in a Firebirds situation. So SSN is a completely different kettle of fish. How can you take Sophie Dwyer at the end of the year if the Giants are sitting where they're sitting and Sophie Dwyer, as a diamond of the last however many years, is not able to drag her team over the line?
Yep.
I just don't know how you justify it.
Thank goodness we're not selectors. We don't have to debate about it, but it's a great point. I know that even when we were commentating on the international series, it was like, oh, has she done enough? Unfortunate for players that maybe needed to show something in the international series. Jamaica weren't the team that we thought they were going to be. Didn't quite get that level of international competition that we were hoping for. Were they going enough of what they can do? Because when you come into clubland, sometimes you do have to play a role, and we've seen that with Akara Conan having to move out to goal attack. But hey, you know what Kara's showing? She can play goal attack. She can play goal attack. She can play goal shooter. Sophie Dwyer, on the other hand, only playing goal attack. You look at an Alice Teague-Neeld, she can play across the line. Georgie Horges can play across the line. Unfortunately, for some of these players, their selection is being determined by the way that their team is performing and the roles that they have to play, and whether you can actually withstand the pressure of carrying a team. I think selections are nearly locked and loaded for me.
Really? See, I have no idea what my team would be. It sits for me in this. It is. Sometimes it's just the role that you have to play. But the way I look at the Diamonds and those people that we've just mentioned, like even Sophie Garvin, who is the goal shooter for the Diamonds, has spent time out at goal attack. Kira Austin, we know that can play 2 positions. Alice can play across the line. She's played 2 positions already this season. Georgie Horges has, Liz Watson has, Jamie Lee Price can swing back into wing defense. I just think if they're going to put an emphasis on 2 positions, you could argue that a Sophie Dwyer doesn't have those 2 positions at the moment at Diamonds, but also where are the Giants at the moment? And yeah, they're stressing me out.
Nerida Stewart, it was showcased. She was like, this is not SSN level netball. So, you know, as a coach, not at that level, you go, is it the fact that I haven't equipped you with the right resources and tools, or are you just not executing it? So is it on the players? Can't always come down to the coaching. Big times ahead for Giants to be able to pull their fingers out and show us what they're really made of. Let's go straight into the round preview, and I wanted to hear your blinder of the week. So round 4 coming up, we've got Giants Firebirds. One note on this though, I actually love Giants social media. I don't know who does it, but whether it's AFL or netball, they absolutely nail it. They sent out a letter to Pulse Netball in New Zealand and said, like, I know obviously a lot of your former players have come over to SS, and we only took Whitney. Obviously Firebirds took a few more, in Maddie Gordon and Callie Jackson. So can you get on our bandwagon? Can you help us win what they're calling the Pulse Cup this weekend, which will be between Giants and Firebirds? So you can tune into that. We've got Mavs and Thunderbirds. You think that'll be the game of the round. Swifts Fever, another really tight contest. And then Vixens and Lightning. Maybe because these teams are probably matching up to where are they a position up or a position down. That's why this round is so important. Like you were mentioning at the start, this could really flip. Are you top 4? Are you bottom 4? Where are you finishing this first quarter of the season? So hit me. Who's your blinder? What are we predicting?
This one's hard. I think the Queensland Firebirdies are going to get their first win of the season. It is in Sydney, so they're having to travel. I am excited to see Callie Jackson against Lucy Austin or Matisse. So I'm going to say my blinder of the week is Firebirdies for their first win.
Oh, well, I'm going to go another Queensland side, and I'm going to go with the Lightning. As I mentioned at the top, if Belinda Reynolds can get her combinations right, and this is what I want to see, I want to see Ava Black starting. I want to see Watson in a wing attack. I don't mind whether it's Mahalia in the centre. I would even love to see a Mai there. Maybe you work between both of them. But yeah, I think the Bruce Berger is going to go off in that diamond shooting circle against the Vixens. So Lightning are going to show us why they should be top 2 and prove you right, Kels. That's my blinder. Well, enjoy your games this weekend. What are you on?
I've got Mavs and Thunderbirds this weekend, and then you've got Vixens Lightning on Sunday.
I do. So tune in, enjoy your netball, and good luck to everyone that is starting local netball this week. I'm starting round 1, up the Tigers. But yeah, good luck to everyone that's starting their season this week. Hopefully you're primed and ready to go. And yeah, get your first W.